mentality. When I die, I want people to be like, she was a legend at that head shit. And I want my daughter to be like, my mother was that on the head tip, period.
21-year-old salon owner murdered in her own shop over the weekend. Tonight, we learned that she was afraid for her life. WMAR2 News' Abby Isaacs explains what court documents show. Abby.
Megan, 12 days before she was shot in the head at her beauty shop, Destiny Harrison filed charges against a couple who she said beat her and stole from her.
December 21, 2019, a Saturday evening in Southeast Baltimore. The holiday season was in full swing. Lights adorned storefronts, shoppers hurried to find last-minute gifts, and families prepared for celebrations. But inside Madame D Beauty Bar, the festive atmosphere shattered in an instant. A single gunshot, then chaos. When police responded to the emergency call, they found 21-year-old Destiny Harrison with a gunshot wound to her head. Despite being rushed to Johns Hopkins Hospital, the young entrepreneur and new mother couldn't be saved. What transforms this tragedy from heartbreaking to infuriating is a detail that haunts this case to this day. The salon wasn't empty when the shooting occurred. There were witnesses, people who saw exactly what happened. Yet no one has come forward with information leading to an arrest. Even more disturbing is the timing. Just 12 days earlier, Destiny had caught two individuals stealing from her salon. They didn't just take merchandise, they physically assaulted her when confronted. Showing remarkable courage, Destiny filed formal charges against them for theft, burglary, and assault. She even obtained a peace order against one suspect with a violent history. In court documents, she wrote words that now seem prophetic. "I am afraid for my life and business." Was this a random act of violence in a city known for its crime rate? Or was Destiny Harrison deliberately targeted because she dared to stand up for herself and her business? The answer likely lies with those who were present that evening, witnesses who, for reasons we can only speculate about, have chosen to remain silent. Today, we're examining the life and death of a young woman whose ambition, talent, and courage should have led to decades of success. Instead, her story ended before her 22nd birthday, leaving behind a grieving family, a motherless child, and a community searching for answers. Before we continue with Destiny's story, I'm curious, have you ever witnessed a situation where people stayed silent despite knowing the truth about a wrongdoing? What keeps people from speaking up when they know something crucial? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insights might help us understand the dynamics at play in this troubling case. To understand the magnitude of what was lost when Destiny Harrison's life was cut short, we need to appreciate who she was and what she had already accomplished at such a young age. At just 21, Destiny had achieved what many spend decades working toward. As the owner of Madame D Beauty Bar in Southeast Baltimore, she wasn't merely running a business, she was living her dream. The salon's name itself reflected her identity and vision, a personal brand she had built from nothing but determination and raw talent. Destiny's path to entrepreneurship began with a passion for beauty and a gift for connecting with people. While many of her peers were still navigating college or entry-level positions, she had already identified her calling and pursued it with remarkable focus. She transformed an ordinary storefront into a welcoming sanctuary where clients could feel valued and beautiful. What distinguished Destiny wasn't just technical expertise, though her skills were exceptional. It was her intuitive understanding of what each client needed, not just aesthetically, but emotionally. People who visited Madame D Beauty Bar weren't simply customers, they became part of Destiny's extended family. She remembered their preferences, asked about their children, celebrated their promotions, and comforted them through hardships. She had this way of making you feel like you were the most important person in the room, recalled one regular client. You'd come in feeling down about yourself and leave feeling like you could conquer the world. This ability to uplift others while building her business demonstrated Destiny's natural leadership. She managed inventory, marketing, scheduling, and client relationships with a maturity that belied her youth. When challenges arose, as they inevitably do in small businesses, she faced them with resilience and creative problem-solving. Beyond her professional accomplishments, Destiny had recently embraced motherhood, adding another dimension to her already full life. Friends noted how seamlessly she integrated her roles as business owner and mother, often bringing her baby to the salon during quieter periods. Her child became another motivation to succeed, another reason to push through exhaustion and obstacles. Her uncle, DeWine McQueen, spoke eloquently about his niece after her death. Destiny wasn't just running a business, he said. She was creating opportunities and showing other young people in our community what's possible when you believe in yourself. He described her as fiercely independent, yet deeply connected to her family, someone who sought advice but ultimately charted her own course.
She was my heart. All of us love her greatly. Just can't believe it.
A new mother, a loving daughter and niece, a beloved business owner.
Wonderful girl, entrepreneur, a go-getter. As you can see, she built this from the ground up.
Shot and killed in her Southeast Baltimore beauty salon Saturday evening.
Unbelievable. Some evil soul would do something like this.
Police say someone walked into Madame D Beauty Bar and shot 21-year-old Destiny Harrison in the head.
No respect for women whatsoever. To do this to a defenseless young lady who doesn't harm anyone, love everyone, it's senseless.
Just 12 days before her murder, Harrison said she was attacked in her salon when she confronted burglars. She wrote in a complaint that she found her neighbors inside, stealing hair bundles that she sells. When she tried to stop them, the couple beat her and took off with $3,000 worth of merchandise. She wrote, quote, "I'm scared for my life and business," end quote. They're now charged with assault, theft, and burglary. Police have not arrested anyone for her murder. They say there were other people inside at the time of the shooting and hope someone comes forward with information. Her family echoes that plea.
Somebody got to know something. Please come forward. You need to get these demonic souls here. They need to pay for their crime. There's no doubt about that. In the name of Jesus, there's no doubt.
Destiny's mother has set up a GoFundMe page to help with funeral expenses. We have that link on our website, WMAR2news.com.
The community recognized Destiny's unique combination of ambition and compassion. Her salon quickly became more than a place to get your hair done. It was a neighborhood hub where people shared news, celebrated milestones, and supported each other. In an area often defined by its challenges, Madame D Beauty Bar represented possibility and pride. Perhaps most remarkable about Destiny's achievements was the context in which she accomplished them. As a young black woman entrepreneur in a neighborhood with limited resources, she faced obstacles that might have deterred others. Access to capital, business mentorship, and security concerns presented real challenges. Yet she navigated these barriers with determination and ingenuity, refusing to let circumstances dictate her potential. Every appointment booked, every client satisfied, every bill paid on time represented a small victory in Destiny's journey. She wasn't just building a business, she was constructing a legacy of excellence and empowerment that would have undoubtedly continued to grow had her life not been so violently interrupted. This wasn't just a job for Destiny, it was her calling, her contribution, her way of making her corner of the world more beautiful in every sense of the word. December 10, 2019. Just 15 days before Christmas, when most business owners were anticipating holiday profits, Destiny Harrison found herself facing a situation that would ultimately foreshadow her tragic end. That evening, after closing hours, Destiny returned to Madame D Beauty Bar to complete some administrative tasks. As she entered through the back door, she immediately sensed something was wrong. Items were out of place. Drawers stood open. The cash register appeared tampered with. Then she heard movement in the storage area. Most people would have retreated and called police from a safe distance. But Destiny had poured her heart, soul, and savings into this business. This wasn't just a break-in, it was a violation of her dream, her future, her security. She moved toward the sound and discovered two individuals hastily stuffing salon products and equipment into bags. high-end styling abilities, professional-grade hair products, and even the specialized shears that represented a significant investment for a young business owner. All being stolen in front of her eyes. "What are you doing? Stop!" Destiny called out, her voice steady despite her racing heart. What happened next transformed a property crime into something far more dangerous. When confronted, one of the thieves didn't flee or surrender. Instead, according to court documents, Destiny later filed, the individual grabbed her by the hair and violently pulled her to the ground. The physical assault left Destiny with injuries, but perhaps more significantly, it left her with the terrifying knowledge that these weren't just opportunistic thieves. They were willing to commit violence when challenged. After the intruders fled, Destiny contacted police and filed a report. The responding officers documented the theft of merchandise and the assault. They collected evidence, took photographs of her injuries, and recorded her statement. Many business owners in similar situations might have stopped there, especially in neighborhoods where relationships with law enforcement can be complicated and where reporting crimes sometimes leads to retaliation. The easier path would have been to improve security, replace the stolen items, and move forward. But that wasn't who Destiny Harrison was. In the days following the break-in, she made a decision that demonstrated both remarkable courage and a profound faith in the justice system. She formally pressed charges against the individuals for theft, burglary, and assault. Court documents from this period reveal the extent of Destiny's concerns. In her own handwriting, she stated clearly, "I am afraid for my life and business." These weren't empty words or an exaggeration. They were the genuine fears of a young woman who understood the potential consequences of her actions. What made her statement particularly prescient was information she had learned about one of the suspects. This individual had a documented history of violence, a fact that transformed Destiny's general anxiety into specific, targeted fear. Recognizing the potential for retaliation, Destiny took the additional step of filing a peace order against one of the suspects. Similar to a restraining order, this legal document was designed to keep the individual away from both her and her business. On paper, this should have provided some measure of protection. In reality, a peace order is only as effective as its enforcement and the willingness of the subject to comply with it. Friends later reported that Destiny had shared her concerns about the suspects returning. She knew they were angry she had reported them, one friend told investigators. She was worried about what might happen next. Despite these fears, Destiny maintained her normal schedule. She continued opening her salon each day, serving clients, and building her business. She implemented some additional security measures, changing locks, adjusting her opening and closing procedures, remaining vigilant about who entered the salon. But she refused to let fear dictate her actions or diminish her dreams. She had worked too hard to build Madame de Beauty Bar to abandon it now. This determination to stand her ground while seeking legal protection demonstrates the complex reality many business owners face in high-crime areas, balancing personal safety with livelihood. Weighing the risks of reporting crimes against the consequences of remaining silent, for Destiny Harrison, the decision to seek justice through official channels may have ultimately cost her everything. A devastating commentary on the limitations of our systems, designed to protect those who do exactly what they're supposed to do when victimized. The 12 days between the break-in and Dessa's murder marked a period of escalating anxiety and heightened vigilance. Those closest to her noticed subtle but significant changes in her behavior, a wariness that hadn't been there before, a constant awareness of her surroundings that spoke volumes about her state of mind. Destiny implemented practical security measures within her limited budget. She adjusted the salon's hours, avoiding early mornings or late evenings when foot traffic was lighter. She kept the door locked during slower periods, buzzing clients in rather than maintaining the open-door policy that had previously reflected her welcoming nature. She positioned her station where she could see the entrance at all times. To family and close friends, Destiny was more forthcoming about her fears. "She told me she was worried they might come back," her uncle Dwayne McQueen later shared. She knew filing those charges was risky, but she said she couldn't let people think they could just take what she'd worked for. This 12-day period highlights the impossible situation many small business owners face in areas where crime intersects with limited police resources. Closing temporarily would mean lost income, a luxury a young entrepreneur couldn't afford, especially during the profitable holiday season. Yet remaining open meant potential exposure to the very individuals she had reported. The peace order she obtained provided legal documentation of her concerns, but offered little practical protection. Without resources for private security, and with police unable to maintain constant surveillance, Destiny was essentially left to protect herself while waiting for the legal process to unfold. This raises profound questions about the support systems available to those who take the brave step of reporting crimes. What additional measures could have been implemented? Could law enforcement have provided increased patrols? Could community members have organized a more visible presence around her business? Could the court have expedited the case against individuals with violent histories? Despite these challenges, Destiny maintained her commitments to clients and continued building her business. She refused to surrender what she had worked so hard to create. This determination, continuing to show up each day despite legitimate fears, speaks to her character and resilience. She wasn't going to let them win, one client remembered. She told me, if I close my doors because I'm scared, then they've already taken everything from me. This perspective reveals Destiny's understanding that her salon represented more than a business. It was her independence, her future, her statement to the world about what she could accomplish. The thought of abandoning it, even temporarily, was unacceptable to her. So she persisted through those 12 days, taking precautions while refusing to retreat. She served her clients with the same warmth and attention to detail that had built her reputation. She continued planning for the future, ordering supplies, booking appointments for January, even discussing potential expansions. She had no way of knowing that her time was running out, that the fears she had expressed in court documents would prove tragically prophetic. Saturday, December 21, 2019, the winter solstice. The darkest day of the year. In Baltimore, the temperature hovered around 40 degrees as evening approached. Christmas was just 4 days away, and the holiday rush was in full swing. At Madame D Beauty Bar, the day had begun like any other Saturday, typically the busiest day in the beauty industry. Destiny arrived early to prepare the salon, arranging products, checking appointments, and ensuring everything was perfect for her clients. Despite her ongoing concerns about safety, she maintained the professional demeanor that had earned her so much respect. Throughout the day, clients came and went. Holiday music played softly in the background. Conversations about Christmas plans, New Year's resolutions, and family gatherings filled the air. Photos later recovered from clients' social media accounts show a normal business day. Women getting their hair styled, Destiny smiling as she worked, the salon decorated with modest holiday touches. By late afternoon, the pace had slowed somewhat, but the salon remained active. According to witness statements, around 5:30 p.m., Destiny was working on a client's hair, while 2 other patrons waited their turn. Another stylist was also present, along with at least one person who appeared to be a friend or family member of one of the clients. What happened next would forever alter the lives of everyone present. At approximately 6:10 p.m., emergency dispatchers received multiple calls reporting gunshots at the salon's address on North Milton Avenue. The calls came in rapid succession, their urgency evident in the recordings later released to the media. "Someone's been shot at the hair salon," one caller exclaimed. "Please hurry." Baltimore police officers responded within minutes, arriving to find a scene of chaos and distress. Inside the salon, they discovered Destiny Harrison lying on the floor with a gunshot wound to her head. The styling chair where she had been working moments before was overturned. Hair products and abilities were scattered across the floor, evidence of the panic that had ensued. Emergency medical technicians immediately began life-saving measures. They stabilized her as best they could before rushing her to Johns Hopkins Hospital, one of the nation's premier medical facilities. Despite the hospital's world-class trauma team and their exhaustive efforts, Destiny's injury proved catastrophic. At 7:48 p.m., just hours after serving her last client, Destiny Harrison was pronounced dead. Back at the Salon, police investigators began the painstaking process of collecting evidence and interviewing witnesses. And here is where the case takes its most disturbing turn. Despite having multiple people present at the time of the shooting, investigators hit a wall of silence that continues to this day. The individuals who were in the salon, who witnessed a 21-year-old mother being murdered in front of them, provided only minimal information. Yes, someone had entered the salon. Yes, shots were fired, but descriptions were vague. Identifications were uncertain. Details were scarce. This collective silence is particularly troubling given the timing of the murder, just 12 days after Destiny had reported the break-in and assault. The connection seemed obvious to investigators, yet without witness cooperation, proving it became nearly impossible. As news of the shooting spread through the community, people gathered outside the salon. The police perimeter kept them at a distance, but their grief was visible even from afar. Friends embraced, crying openly. Family members arrived, their faces contorted with shock and anguish. Destiny's uncle, Dwayne McQueen, spoke briefly to reporters that evening, his voice breaking as he described his niece's ambitions and the senselessness of her death. "She was just trying to make something of herself," he said. "She was just trying to build a future for her baby." As the night progressed, investigators continued processing the scene. They collected shell casings, took photographs, dusted for fingerprints, and searched for any surveillance footage from nearby businesses. They canvassed the neighborhood, hoping someone might have seen the shooter arrive or flee, but the most valuable evidence, eyewitness testimony from those who were actually present, remained frustratingly elusive. Why would witnesses refuse to speak? Was it fear of retaliation? Distrust of police? A community code of silence? These questions would haunt the investigation in the days, weeks, and eventually years that followed. As Destiny's body was transported to the medical examiner's office, and her family began the unimaginable task of planning a funeral just days before Christmas, the person who pulled the trigger walked free, protected by the silence of those who saw everything. I'm curious, what state or country are you watching from? Have similar cases happened in your area where witnesses refuse to cooperate despite seeing a violent crime? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Understanding this phenomenon might help us make sense of what happened in Destiny's case. In the hours following Destiny's murder, the Baltimore Police Department mobilized significant resources. The Homicide Division took lead, with detectives working through the night processing evidence, interviewing witnesses, and attempting to establish a timeline of events. The physical evidence told part of the story. Shell casings indicated the weapon used, blood spatter patterns suggested the shooter's position, and fingerprints throughout the salon documented who had been present. Forensic teams meticulously photographed and collected everything that might provide answers, but physical evidence can only reveal so much. In homicide investigations, eyewitness testimony often provides the crucial link between evidence and perpetrator, and this is precisely where the investigation into Destiny Harrison's murder hit its most formidable obstacle. "We know there were multiple people inside that salon when the shooting occurred," Detective James Harrington stated at a press conference 3 days after the murder. We're pleading for those individuals to come forward with what they saw." That plea went largely unanswered, raising profound questions about why witnesses choose silence even in the face of such violence. Criminologists and community advocates point to several potential explanations. Fear of retaliation stands as the most obvious deterrent. In neighborhoods where violent crime is common, those who cooperate with police can face dangerous consequences. Snitching isn't just frowned upon, it can be life-threatening. When witnesses believe the police cannot protect them from potential retaliation, silence becomes a survival strategy. Distrust of law enforcement represents another significant barrier. In communities with histories of problematic police interactions, cooperation with authorities isn't viewed as civic duty but as community betrayal. Years of perceived injustice, harassment, or neglect create a gulf between residents and police that can't be bridged in the emotional aftermath of a murder. The system hasn't earned their trust, explained Dr. Aisha Thompson, a criminologist specializing in community police relations. When people don't believe the system will deliver justice or protect them, they see no benefit in putting themselves at risk by coming forward. The timing of Destiny's murder, just 12 days after she reported the break-in and assault, created an obvious line of investigation. Detectives pursued this angle aggressively, interviewing the individuals Destiny had accused and checking their alibis for the time of the shooting. Without witness cooperation, however, establishing a definitive connection proved challenging. The suspects from the earlier incident denied any involvement in the murder, and without testimony placing them at the scene, building a case became nearly impossible. As days turned to weeks and weeks to months, the investigation remained active but progress slowed. Destiny's case file grew thick with reports, interviews, and forensic analyses, but the crucial breakthrough remained elusive. The community's response evolved from immediate shock to organized demands for justice. Vigils were held outside Madame D Beauty Bar.
She was shot and killed. Now, court documents, these one right here, show us that she says she was assaulted and burglarized earlier this month. And then today, we got new documents. This one, showing she filed a peace order, which is a form of a restraining order, against one of the people she says assaulted her. Tonight, police have not made any arrests for her death, but everyone is looking for answers. The entrance to the Madame D Beauty Bar, surrounded with balloons and candles. Just days before, the same area closed off with police tape and cruisers. This is where Destiny Harrison was shot and killed while she was working.
She with me, she ain't going nowhere.
Raquel Harrison is Destiny's mom.
Destiny just was a sweet person. She was ambitious. She just wanted to do what she loved. She wanted to do hair and be a mother.
Destiny was a new mother and the owner of the salon where she was gunned down.
It's unbelievable, we didn't expect nothing like this to happen. She's in her own shop doing what she's supposed to do. Living an honest life, her own business, and then bam, here goes something like this. It's nonsense.
Shelly Williams says her cousin has been doing hair since she was a little girl.
She had a lot of clout with hair. She was real good with hair.
Family and friends spent the night sharing memories.
Is in the will of God.
As they try to get through this difficult time.
A struggle, a real big struggle. Struggling with my emotions, about thinking about my poor baby, not seeing her again, about the way she passed.
The family, there for each other and grateful for the support from the community.
It's all love. It means a lot because I know Destiny will feel love and she would feel like people actually care.
Community meetings addressed both the specific tragedy of Destiny's death and the broader issues of violence and witness intimidation. Local activists called for increased protection for those who report crimes. Years later, Destiny's case remains officially open but effectively stalled. Her photograph joins dozens of others on the Baltimore Police Department's Unsolved Homicides Board, a visual reminder of justice delayed and potentially denied. For Destiny's family, the lack of resolution compounds their grief. Her daughter, now growing up without a mother, will someday ask questions they cannot answer. Her parents and uncle continue pressing for information, meeting periodically with detectives for updates that rarely come. Someone knows exactly what happened that day, Dwayne McQueen stated on the 3rd anniversary of his niece's death. Someone saw who pulled that trigger. Someone has been carrying that knowledge for years now. We're just asking them to find the courage to come forward. The silence surrounding Destiny's murder represents more than just an investigative challenge. It reflects a profound social breakdown. When witnesses to a young mother's murder choose silence over testimony, when fear outweighs justice, when killers walk free while families grieve, the entire community suffers. As one detective noted in his case notes, the only thing necessary for violence to continue is for witnesses to say nothing. In Destiny Harrison's case, that silence speaks volumes about the complex challenges facing both law enforcement and the communities they serve. Destiny Harrison's murder sent ripples through Baltimore that extended far beyond her immediate circle. Her death represented more than the loss of a single life. It symbolized the vulnerability of young entrepreneurs trying to build legitimate businesses in challenging environments. In the weeks following her murder, local business associations held emergency meetings to discuss safety concerns. Salon owners were particularly affected, seeing in Destiny's story a reflection of their own daily realities. Many reported implementing additional security measures, changing operating hours, installing better lighting, adding security cameras, and even hiring armed security. All expenses that cut into already thin profit margins. "We're just trying to make an honest living," said Tanya Williams, owner of a nearby beauty supply store. "But when something like this happens, you start wondering if it's worth the risk." This chilling effect on entrepreneurship represents one of the tragedy's most lasting impacts. When young business owners see someone like Destiny, who did everything right, murdered in her own establishment, it discourages investment in the very neighborhoods that need economic development most. Community organizations responded by creating support networks for small business owners. These initiatives included security assessments, de-escalation training, and buddy systems where neighboring businesses watch out for each other. Some community development corporations even established emergency funds to help business owners afford security upgrades. Legal advocates pointed to Destiny's case as evidence that the current system of peace orders and restraining orders needs strengthening. "A piece of paper didn't protect Destiny Harrison," noted attorney Marcus Johnson at a community forum. "We need to rethink how we safeguard people who've reported crimes and fear retaliation." Proposed improvements included priority police response for peace order violations, electronic monitoring for individuals with violent histories who have orders against them, and temporary security details for those who report serious crimes and face credible threats. Law enforcement officials used Destiny's case to highlight the devastating impact of witness silence on solving violent crimes. The Baltimore Police Department launched a renewed campaign to address the Stop Snitching culture, emphasizing anonymous reporting options and witness protection programs. "When witnesses don't come forward, killers remain free to harm others," Police Commissioner Thomas Reynolds stated. "This isn't about snitching, it's about protecting your community, your family, your neighbors." Community leaders acknowledged that breaking the code of silence requires addressing its root causes: fear of retaliation, distrust of police, and lack of faith in the justice system. Some neighborhoods established safe reporting initiatives, where respected community members serve as intermediaries between witnesses and law enforcement. Faith communities played a crucial role in the healing process. Churches across Baltimore held prayer services for Destiny and other victims of violence. Many incorporated messages about collective responsibility and moral courage into their sermons, encouraging congregants to speak up when they witness wrongdoing. "Silence in the face of violence makes us complicit," Reverend James Thomas told his congregation. "We cannot pray for peace while protecting those who shatter it." 3 years after Destiny's death, her case continues to inform discussions about community safety, business development in underserved areas, and the complex relationship between residents and law enforcement. Her story serves as both a cautionary tale and a call to action, a reminder that creating truly safe communities requires commitment from every sector of society. The tragedy of Destiny Harrison isn't just that she died so young, but that her death was potentially preventable if only the systems designed to protect her had functioned as they should. Today, Destiny Harrison's legacy lives on in both tangible and intangible ways. A small memorial garden stands near where her salon once operated, with a plaque bearing her name and the words, "Dreams interrupted, not forgotten." Local beauty schools offer a scholarship in her name, supporting young people pursuing careers in the industry she loved. But perhaps her most powerful legacy is the ongoing conversation her story continues to inspire. Each year on the anniversary of her death, community members gather not just to remember Destiny, but to recommit themselves to creating safer environments for young entrepreneurs. Her case remains officially unsolved, a painful reality for her family who continue their quest for answers. Her daughter, now growing up without her mother's guidance, represents both the personal tragedy behind the headlines and the generational impact of violence. Destiny's story reminds us that community safety isn't just the responsibility of police or politicians. It belongs to each of us. When we remain silent about violence, when we fail to support those who take risks to build legitimate businesses in challenging areas, when we accept the way things are instead of demanding better, we become unwitting accomplices to tragedies like hers. Supporting young entrepreneurs, especially in underserved communities, means more than celebrating their successes. It means creating systems that protect them when they face threats. It means standing beside them when they report crimes. It means refusing to accept that violence is the inevitable price of doing business in certain neighborhoods. Destiny Harrison deserved the chance to see her dreams fully realized, to watch her daughter grow, to expand her business, to inspire others with her success story. Instead, her story serves as a somber reminder of all that can be lost in a single moment of violence. What do you think happened in this case? Do you believe witnesses are staying silent out of fear, distrust of authorities, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to Shadows of Crime for more in-depth true crime stories that explore not just what happened, but why, and how we might prevent such tragedies in the future.